Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, July 21st. I feel like this might be our maybe 1 year anniversary. Oh no, we started this earlier than July 21st. Let's see. July 21st last year, we were doing maybe our second video ever. It's officially listed as a memory on our Facebook page. It's been a long year, fam. I'm excited to be back here with you. We've got some updates. We have a whole bunch of questions on the Google form, so we'll get to that in just a minute. As always, if you're here and you're new and you have any questions, please drop the questions in the chat. There is no question that we want to go overlooked. So even if you're afraid it's been answered or it's silly or it's obvious, like, please just ask it. We are committed to making sure that you have the information you need as quickly as we can get it. And part of how we do that is by being able to interface with you live like this. Good morning to everybody who is here. Good to see some familiar names. It definitely makes us feel a little bit more like home. So I am going to start right off the bat with some updates. I'm working on a teleprompter for now. No cards. Cats Camp is August 5th and 6th. It will be from 8 to 11:30 a.m. and there will be a parent information session from 11 to 11:30. Your student only needs to come one day. In fact, you can only sign up to come one day. Please don't come twice because we've got to have room for more people. And a special note: some of you who may have registered may have gotten a hard copy flyer with the wrong dates on it. So again, just to recap, Cats Camp, which is an informational morning for rising freshmen, is going to be on August 5th and August 6th. You can go on the website and sign up to attend. I will put the sign up link in the chat. The website is getting updated pretty frequently. So as always, definitely check in on the website. So here is the Cats Camp registration. Next up, transportation. If your student needs transportation for the school year, you should be able to get into Power School. You probably cannot see your schedule yet. That's by design because they are not finalized. We have a lot of adjusting to do. But if you need transportation for next year, it's not automatically assigned. You do need to make sure your transportation is listed in Power School, which I don't believe you can see it in the web app. I do actually think you have to log into, or you can't do it on the app. You have to log into the web portal, and there's a transportation tab. If you are not showing a bus route, it just says not registered or whatever, and you need transportation on the website, there is another link that will take you to that. Let me just link it for you. So this is going to be the bus registration. Okay, so I assume so for Cats Camp, would we get dropped off, or is it a thing for parents and kids? So kids will get dropped off. The only parent orientation session that happens is at 11. So parents will drop students off and then come back a couple hours later at 11 to have an information session, and then you'll be there when your student finishes up at 11:30, and then everybody can leave together. Great question. Transportation senior kickoff, class of 2022. Here we are. Senior kickoff is on August the 4th from 8:30 to, I have 11:15 on here. So I think that's right. And then we're going to look up the email that Mr. Ship sent me about parking, but my understanding is that the parking live raffle is going to be after senior kickoff. We'll check on that in just a minute. But just wanted to get that out there. So that's all of that for updates. Let me see if Mr. Ship's parking note is here, because I know that many people here are very interested in the parking situation. So I will say this, the parking application is available online. Let me just go ahead and send that link as well. Here is parking info. Oop, would help if I selected the text area. Parking info and application. Of course, it's 3 characters too long. So parking info will stay and application will go. And then we can send it. Great. Now, we have had some students and parents email us noting that they're having trouble getting the form to accept their registration. We are looking at that on our end, but I would say that most people are not having any issues. But there are a couple things to keep in mind. One is that students need to be logged into their Wake ID portal in order to access the form, because we do have that locked so that it automatically tags emails. We've had much more success using Google Chrome as the browser for uploads. In order to upload your driver's license and registration, we recommend it being in a document, a PDF, or a JPEG image, because the upload file size has a 2 GB limit. We've had some people who have said that they've hit the limit, and the only thing I can imagine that might be happening is if somebody is using a scanner at their house, and it's like a scanner that's set to 600 DPI or higher, for like incredibly high resolution scans. That might get up to 2 gigs, but like a JPEG on your phone shouldn't, like if you take a picture with your phone and upload it, it shouldn't be anywhere close to that file size limit. The bigger one that's kind of hard to think through is that if you're using a browser where you're logged into Gmail, your personal Gmail, you need to log not only out of Gmail, you have to go to Google Drive and you have to log out of your personal Google account everywhere. I recommend just logging out of it in the browser itself, then log in using your student info. That's been the big one. You can go to Wake ID and log in and open your student stuff, but the Google Drive, when it opens, will default to your personal credentials, which won't allow you to access the form. And then finally, we've had a lot of other people who have shared, once they figured it out, what they've done is they've just copied the actual hyperlink and they paste it into a separate tab in the browser. Instead of clicking it and linking out, they just copy and paste it. And at the bottom of the application, apparently, for whatever reason, the link is in here twice. But the link at the very, very bottom of both pages that says MHS 2021 parking permit online application, that link has been more successful for people for whatever reason. I'm unsure. So I think that covers the update from Mr. Ship. Oh, the last piece of the puzzle is the deadline to submit parking stuff is July 30th, which is, what is that, next Friday, something like that? Let me just look at the calendar real quick. Boop. Yeah, next Friday at 8 a.m., not into the day, at 8 a.m. So I would actually start thinking July 29th at midnight, or July 29th before you go to bed. We do not have very many parking submissions at this point. Mr. Ship listed in here, only 105 students have submitted their application. So if you would like to park on campus next year, it is critical that you get that submitted before next Friday. Okay, that's all I have for updates. We had a question. We have some more questions, so let's knock these out. I do have an interview at 9 that I have to conduct, so we do have a hard stop this morning. The student must fill out the parking application through the Wake ID portal. Yep. PowerSchool is not open for checking transportation. That is fascinating, and I will check as to why. Sometimes it's not clean, like it's an all or nothing situation, and I'll have to ask some questions about that because I'm not the expert. But we'll check in next week about transportation then. You can probably use an incognito window as well. What a clever idea. Okay, shout out to Ms. Novak. Try using an incognito window to log into your Wake ID and do all that stuff. That is very clever. How many students will be in school versus virtual for this coming year? Last I saw, our total VA enrollment's like 110. It's very, 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 very small, which would make it 95, 96% of all students are going to be in person for next year. Now that's a nostalgia question right there. Harkening back to the first days of doing these shows. All right, here's everything from the Google form that's on the website. It's a lot. There are a lot of questions here. The good news is we've sort of touched on some of these. So here we go. How does my student know what AP summer assignments to do if he hasn't received a finalized schedule for 10th grade? So if you have registered for an AP class as one of your primary 8 selections, you should go ahead and do that summer work, because the likelihood of you not getting that AP class is very slim. The counselors will hand schedule and prioritize rigor, namely AP classes in that registration. IB, we hand schedule. Mr. Barron handles all that. AP is handled by alphabetical counselors. So if you have registered for a class, you should go ahead and start doing that summer work, because it would be very unlikely that you don't get that class. Next question is, if a student receives a Chromebook from Wake County, I'm assuming it's theirs for the year and they will be taking it back and forth. Is that correct? Back and forth from home to school? Or will there just be extra Chromebooks in class? So I will endeavor to have a much richer answer about this next week. There are piles and piles of new distribution guidance that I need to go through from central office. The understanding is this: students that have a Lenovo Chromebook right now, there's only one model of Lenovo Chromebooks out there. So if you have a Lenovo Chromebook and you're returning to school next year, then that is your Chromebook to continue using. You'll keep that until graduation, potentially. If you checked out a Chromebook last year and it's an HP Chromebook, you'll be able to exchange that for an updated model, which is a Lenovo 300E or something like that. If you have not checked out a Chromebook and need one, you will be eligible to do that as well. Those devices will be the students to take back and forth from home to school. It's really daunting talking about this, knowing that I have a kindergartner. Like, I look at my kid every night and I'm like, you're not ready for a Chromebook, but here we are. So the caveat there is, it's not just going to be, it's yours back and forth, and if it breaks, then you get a new one. Basically, everybody, if it can be repaired because it's an accidental break, then it will be repaired. At some point, if it's been broken too many times, or if a student is proving to be irresponsible, they'll get a Chromebook that will live here at school. They'll be called what's called a day user, and they just won't take the device home at all. Again, there are a million details in that process, and I will get a better answer for next year. I'm coming back to the chat here. Is there anything you can tell me about the JROTC program? Yes. I think the big takeaways are, it's really awesome. I thoroughly enjoy our instructors. And a big misconception is that it's like military focused, and it's not. It is designed and supported through the military, but ultimately it's designed to build confidence and leadership skills in students. If you have more questions about that, you can email Mr. Flowers, dflowers@wcpss.net. He's the administrator over JROTC, or you can email Chief Hopper, which is EHOPPER, at wcpss.net, and he would love to answer your questions. He and First Sergeant do a great job, and they know infinitely more about the program than I do. If you still have a hot spot, I know they're returned, but I keep forgetting, is there a deadline for me to return it? Not really, but we do need to account for those. So whenever you get a chance, you can just swing by guest services, just not between the noon and 1 window when everybody's gone for lunch, but just drop it off at the front of school. You don't need to sign anything or anything. You'll be good to go. I recall seeing an email that all students will be provided a Chromebook. Yes, that is accurate. The details of when and how I still have to work on, because we have to do that here at Millbrook, and I don't have any staff until the 17th, so working on it. If a sophomore won't be able to do the walkthrough on August 19th, when else will they be able to get their schedule? Will it be in Power School at that time? Yes, probably. Also, what time is the walkthrough on the 19th? It's from 4 to 6 p.m. And so if you can't do the actual rotation schedule the way we announce it, you could always just come real quick, swing by all your classes and leave early if you needed to. The next question is, what is Senior Kickoff? Senior Kickoff is an event where we get the seniors out here. We get them connected with some like really critical information about college deadlines, financial aid. We also talk about cap and gowns, senior portraits, and a bunch of other things. At this point, again, parents of seniors, you should have gotten an email to sign up. I know that the signups for portraits were going pretty quick. So if you don't have that sign up, feel free to email me, cpatten2@wcpss.net, and I can send it to you. Again, shout out to Ms. Sparks for giving me that link last week. Now that we've been able to apply for parking, what is the situation with off-campus lunch passes? We will be giving off-campus lunch passes to students who are in the off-campus lunch passes are eligible or will be assigned to students in 11th and 12th grade if they apply, because they have to have it signed by a parent, and in some cases notarized if the parent doesn't do it here. And two, the pass cost, I think it costs $10. But so we will have off-campus lunch again, per usual, is the plan. You mentioned kids don't need 2 backpacks with A, B schedule. Why or why not? In general, most students, I would find a neighbor, I'd find a kid to ask. Maybe I can try and find a student for next week to answer some of those questions. In general, most students just swap the materials they need. Like, they get used to the rotation, and it's easier for them to have one bag that has all their critical stuff and then just to swap something like maybe a notebook here or there. In some other cases, because many classes aren't using like physical textbooks these days, it's just easy enough to carry everything in one bag. But I will work on, if I can't get a student here to answer that question next week, I will at least interview a student or a couple who can give us some perspective on that question. That's a really good question. When will the 21-22 school calendar begin to be populated? Oh, that's an outstanding question, and that's my fault. The master calendar, let's see what it says on the website. When we go to calendar and schedules, if you click on Millbrook Master Calendar, yeah, I see what's going on. That's disappointing. So we historically have used Google Calendar for our master calendar function, and the school website no longer supports that consistently. So we have to manually update that entire calendar, which is sort of tedious. So I just have to find time to sit and do it and talk to Jonathan Davis, our webmaster, work out a system on how to make sure we keep that updated. That's an outstanding question. We're working on it. Is there a parent meeting at senior kickoff? Ooh, I don't know the answer to that. I would email Miss Sanchez, M.A. Sanchez at WCPSS.net, and ask that question. That's a great question. I missed part of the lunch discussion. Can freshmen go off campus? No. The only people eligible to leave campus for lunch are 11th graders and 12th graders. Not trying to be snappy, but what happens is every year, my whole job at lunch duty is to stand in the parking lot and be like, you're in 10th grade, what are you doing? If you were in 9th or 10th grade, you stay on campus all day, full stop. That's just how it is. 11th or 12th graders can apply to get their off-campus lunch pass. There's no real barrier to that. You pay $10, you have your parents' permission, and then you get your pass. But so it's only for 11th and 12th graders who have an off-campus lunch pass. So anyway, that was a great question about the calendar. I'll try and start working on that this week, definitely before August. Where can the posts during the YouTube live session be seen? No comments appear on YouTube. Oh, interesting. Let me look at that. I might be able to like turn the comments on, because I know I can see them after the fact. If anybody here is in the chat and can tell me what their experience has been, that would be valuable as well. And I'll try and read it out loud to share that answer. My daughter signed up for early graduation, but we haven't heard if she was accepted. Should she still plan on going to the senior kickoff? I would oh man, Miss Barnes is so buried because she's the only counselor on site right now. If you can send me an email, I will forward that to somebody who might be able to get us the answer, Miss Mitchell. If you sign up for CATS camp, should you receive a confirmation? Also a good question. I can ask Miss Wells, who will be here today, and I can confirm that tomorrow. I don't think historically you have. I think you just commit to the day and come. So don't wait on one, but I'll confirm for next week. The day of camp, is that the day that other students get their schedules as well. Seniors will get their schedules at senior kickoff. Freshmen will get their schedules at Cats Camp. Everyone else gets their schedule during the walkthrough on the 19th. Man, y'all are bringing the heat this week. These are not the softball questions that make me look good. But also I like it because it's like the stuff we need to know. When do ninth grade students start? Okay, so the first day for students is going to be Monday, August 23rd, 2021. Is there a variety football game on Friday the 20th? I don't know. Let's see if we can find out that answer. Hey, do we have a football game on Friday, August the? Well, I guess there is no August. Oh, maybe there is an August the 20th. Do we have a football game on the 20th before school starts? I think we do. Yeah. Oh, but it's away, so it's not home, but it is a varsity game at Apex on the 20th. Right on. Thank you so much. All right, bye. So there is a football game on August the 20th. It's at Apex Friendship, which we joke that Apex is basically the other side of the moon. It feels like it takes forever to get all the way over there, but you would be welcome to travel. That'd be great. I'm sure the guys would appreciate it. When are senior pictures? Master calendar. So some students are signing up for senior portraits now, preschool. And then if you miss that, there will be a senior portraits on campus by appointment on Tuesday, September 21st. Great question. Our schedule is going to be available. Yeah, senior kickoff. Seniors will get schedules at senior kickoff. If my senior wants to email her counselor, but the auto response says it's not in the office, should she contact someone else? Yes, I would have your senior contact their Alpha administrator. And just a reminder, the Alphas have changed a little bit. You can find those on the website, though, on the students drop down. So I would have her, because all the administrators are back, so we can get you the answers you need. What happens if a rising senior doesn't go to senior kickoff? They'll just want to make sure they get the information that's available. They're going to miss some popsicles, maybe. But yeah, it's not earth-shattering, but there is some critical information you're going to want to make sure you follow up on from senior kickoff, and we'll probably share that out via the weekly message. I'll start those soon too, I guess. Anyway, that information will get out there, but just know that there is some information from senior kickoff you'll want to get, but it's not really critical that you're there that day. If you don't go, how do you get your schedule? Seniors who don't go to senior kickoff will get their schedule on the walkthrough on August 19th. Where's information about the walkthrough on August 19th? In my brain for the most part. I will work on putting a little blurb on the website soon. I got to finalize some details with the team, but we'll work on getting that out there. That's another great question. Will students be assigned lockers this year? Students can request a locker, but historically, like literally last year, less than 10 students used a locker in the whole building. Most of the time, even if you get a locker that's close to one class, students have to move around so much that it's not really practical unless you're going to put stuff in there at the beginning and end of the day only. Because a lot of times students might have a class in the 100 building, but then the rest of their stuff is in the main building and they never go back there, and there's not enough time. You can do the class change from any point in the building to any point in the building in 5 minutes. You can't necessarily go from the 3rd floor to the 200 building and then over to the band room, or the 2nd floor to the 100 building to the 200 building. So in general, we just don't have a lot of students use lockers, but they will be available if you need them. We signed up for camp. Let's see, confirmation. We answered that. Other schedules. Oh, thanks for the insight, Ms. Petzold, about the backpacking in the evening. What is the walkthrough? The walkthrough is your chance to come and walk through the building with your schedule and see where your classes are. Teachers will share some information about their class and specific classroom needs if they have that. but it's pretty casual. It's pretty short. It's not a situation where you're going to sit in 20-minute presentations in every class like an open house. It's not quite the same. When do counselors come back? August 17th. I know it's hard. They come back when teachers come back 1 week before students come back. So, you know, in an ideal world, they would make counselors 11 months so that they could start on August 1st. But it's expensive to bring people back all the time. So that's very, very, very much above my pay grade. But I know Miss Barnes is here all summer, and man, a mile a minute every day. I don't know how she gets it done. But Miss Barnes is here. If you have any questions, you can email her. She is pretty inundated, so I also recommend emailing your administrator because we're a little more accessible right now. Is there an opportunity to change your schedule if you don't like it? Not really. One of the things that I had to get used to when I started at Millbrook, but that I've really come to understand the power of, is that we don't change student schedules. We do a really detailed job with helping inform kids what classes exist, and trying to work with them and families in the spring to register for the right courses, things that they're interested in. That being said, the course changes that we do honor are students who want to increase their rigor. So if over the summer they've seen what their friends are doing for summer assignments and they're like, oh, I could totally do that. Maybe I should take AP World History or AP Environmental Science. If you want to jump into an AP class, we generally try and work it out to move into a higher rigor. If you were like signed up for an academic class, but you want to be in an honors level section, we usually honor that. And then the other schedule changes that we will look at are students who accidentally got assigned a course that they've already taken and passed. Because obviously they don't need to be in there. They already have the credit. We need to get them somewhere else. Students that get a schedule with a hole in their schedule, most of the time even if you see it 3 days before school, most of the time those are fixed by day one. Counselors will literally work all weekend, the weekend before school starts, to make sure kids don't have holes in their schedule. Occasionally that still happens, and then students will get instruction. If you have a hole in your schedule, let's say you have a hole in your schedule during second period, we would instruct you go to first period, and then when you don't have a class, you'll report to the student services to get that sorted out. And we usually have the counselors around in different spots in the building, so we don't have everybody in that tiny counseling office. We usually put them outside the auditorium or something. So yes, I'm going to do a last call for questions because I've got to go get my brain ready for an interview. As always, if you're watching this, we're working on getting the comments on here because all the links and conversation are in the comments. I'm sorry that you haven't been able to see that, but thank you so much for telling us. And thank you for everybody submitting questions in the Google form. It was a lot of questions. That's awesome. And that helps us know and anticipate family needs quicker, because we get that input from you guys. So thank you so much. If you have any other questions, drop them in real quick. PowerSchool emailed my freshman schedule on Monday. Is that likely to change? Likely to change. Nothing is final. We're still sorting out some virtual academy teaching assignments. So there's a chance that like the teacher that's listed is wrong. That might necessitate moving to a whole different period. We don't know. But yeah, for some kids, it might very well stay the same, but it is highly unlikely. Because I know we have roughly 25 new staff that are not in PowerSchool, so they're not even showing up on schedules right now. Try all chat instead of top chat. Ooh, is that a setting on your end, Miss Wallace? Are we all supposed to be emailed by PowerSchool? No, not everyone is emailed by PowerSchool. You do have to change that setting when you log into the app and select what notifications you would like. But yes, it will email you. And shout out parents, I highly recommend getting at least the weekly summary. This past year was especially hard. We marked students present if they were here, or present online if they were online. And there was a gap, right? Like a student might go to their friend's house and sign in online. So we marked them present online, which didn't automatically alert a parent to an absence. So parents thought they were in school. We thought they were in school when really they were with a friend. And so what you can do is if you get the weekly digest from PowerSchool, it'll show you, and you can say, hey, why were you marked 1R for being on? Now, it's not an issue for next year. But it allows you to see current grades. It allows you, it'll email you attendance updates. It's really quite nice. Yeah, all chat function doesn't work. Okay, I'll dive into my chat settings. I do have some situations where I turn off all comments, and that might affect the chat. Because I don't want, it's hard for me to monitor this, so it's easier to not have any comments. Anyway, I have to run. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. As always, if you need anything, feel free to email me or your Alpha administrator right now. Counselors are not in the building. Stay safe. I can't get into the app. Who should I ask for help? Go ahead and shoot me an email, cpatton2@wcpss.net, and Coach Bunting and I will work on getting your account sorted out. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful week. Be safe out there. It's band camp season. It's my favorite time of year. I guess that also means football season. I don't know that much about football. But enjoy it. Stay safe. Stay hydrated. Wear your sunscreen.